Washed Up Sports Podcast.
Washed Up Sports Podcast.
Washed Up Sports Podcast. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to a Washed Up Sports Podcast. This is episode 23. My name is Evan Klein, and I'm glad to be joined alongside my co-host, Max Lindley.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode. We're happy to be back. We had a little hiatus last week, but we're back better than ever.
Better than ever, sure.
Better than ever, So this week, we got an awesome interview coming probably 20 minutes. So stick around. We got a great interview on the way for you guys. So stay tuned. We'll introduce that in a little bit. But without further ado, Evan, what are we?
We are an authentic sports commentary from the perspective of two washed-up athletes. Today's episode is brought to you by The Daily Scoop. The Daily Scoop is the premier dog walking and pet sitting service of Bergen County, located in Glen Rock. The Daily Scoop provides service not only to Glen Rock, but to several surrounding towns as well. They ensure that you are getting the best possible care for your pets while you cannot be with them. From the simple dog walk to taking care of your dog throughout the day, Daily Scoop has you covered. Ever need to leave town for the weekend? Visit some family, friends? Have no fear? Sure, Daily Scoop got you covered.
They do.
It's pet sitting services as well. Inquire for more at www.thedailyscoop.com. That's scoop with a K at www.thedailyscoop.com. And here is Max with their Instagram.
Daily Scoop LLC. Check them out.
Check them out. Alrighty, let's dive right into it.
Let's.
So Monday night we had the NCAA season for basketball, National Championship, come to a close, and we saw a very shocking, for some, but dominant performance from the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, they really relied on Butler there. I mean, he had what a freaking game.
He's so good, man.
He played so fantastic. I was just so incredibly impressed with him.
In my opinion, just like by far, I mean, this year was one of the best players in the Big 12, and he's something else, and I think they got so many other dudes that just impressed last night. Davion Mitchell and, Maceo Teague, Mark Vital, I believe it's pronounced.
Vital.
So they're all came together and put out, they had to play a good game if they wanted to take down the big dog in Gonzaga and the perfect season, and they did it.
Yeah, they did. They did, and that was super impressive. I mean, that was just a really good game, and congrats to Baylor. And Gonzaga, sorry, not a perfect season, but yeah. So congrats to Baylor. That was a really great season.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I saw that really impressed me from Baylor was in the beginning of the game, they got Suggs to foul twice, and he had to sit down. And throughout the first half, they really controlled Suggs. I mean, Suggs did not have the game everyone expected him to, and that's the key. If you want to beat Gonzaga, you got to shut down Suggs at least. And then they left it up to Kispert, Timmy, Ayayi, Nemhard, and it didn't work out.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. I think if they play a series, two teams like that play a series, that's going to 7 games or something like that. I know it wasn't the closest game, but I think those teams, if they were to play again, it would be even more interesting, in my opinion.
I don't disagree, man.
Right.
I mean, I was listening to SiriusXM. I cannot recall the channel. Might have been Mad Dog Sports Radio. Little shout out.
The plug.
The little plug. Not that it does much. From Washed Up Sports Podcast. He's a legend. Been in it for a while. East Coast legend too. But anyways, to the point, they were saying that it would have benefited Gonzaga to have played Baylor earlier in the year.
Would have been. I mean, yeah.
They would have
totally.
They would have known that offense was as explosive as it was. I feel like on tape, it's hard to see how explosive Baylor's offense was until you physically played them. Now, I'm no basketball expert. I'm not a basketball player even, but that's just what I assume happened. Like Gonzaga kind of didn't see them as explosive as they really were.
Well, yeah, it's much harder to beat a team twice than one time, is what they say. So if they saw each other, you know so much more about a team if you play them. So I agree. Gonzaga did have a really tough out-of-conference schedule and played a lot of really great teams, but it comes down to the one game. That's just sports.
That's true. It is. I love that, Ev. That's just sports.
It is. It's the reality.
It's the reality of the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In some sports, luckily, you get like a 7-game series, which is always fun. But that's just college basketball for you.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, some sports you play by yourself.
True.
Yeah, like golf.
Oh, golf?
How's that for a segue?
Wow.
How is that for a segue?
Wow. Guys, we have the Masters coming up on Thursday. It feels like the Masters was yesterday.
It feels like it was when we had Dr. Joel and the boys on the pod. We had Matt here.
Absolutely.
It feels like it was just yesterday, but honestly, guys, it was a very long time ago. So that was actually October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So we recorded the podcast in October, but the Masters was in November.
Right.
So,
right. I remember.
Yeah, we recorded it a
now.
little early because we had something that week. But yeah, that was so much fun to do, and we're happy to take a little deep dive into it right now. So let's look at the top 10 of the PGA Tour right now.
So Dustin Johnson might be the consensus favorite going into the tournament to repeat.
He is my favorite, most certainly.
I don't think I can bet against him.
I mean, the only way you bet against him is if you drop down to 3 and you're picking Jon Rahm.
He's gonna play. He's gonna come to play.
He was right there with him, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a really great tournament. I don't think Bryson is gonna have the tournament that everyone has been expecting him to. Augusta is just such a tough course, and I don't know. When DJ comes to play, it seems like it's a lot harder for Bryson to get going.
Right. I think with Bryson, I think he will come to play. I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he will come to play because obviously he was very disappointed with his performance in the Masters, this previous Masters back in the fall. So now I think this is kind of a redemption thing for him at Augusta. So I think he's going to come hungry. I really do. And one other guy that I kind of wanted to talk about was Jordan Spieth, because the reason I want to talk about him, obviously last week won the Valero. Valero, and that's just a great note to go into the biggest major of the year for Jordan
great momentum
Spieth.
for
Exactly. For somebody who's been struggling for so long, just to find his form like that back right before the Masters, it comes in good time.
It's huge.
It's huge. And I think that I was looking at who played, and there were some decent guys who played in the Valero, but a lot of people take the week before the Masters off. A lot of great golfers. So Jordan, I think, great win. Not to take anything away from it. I know it wasn't as great of a field as we're maybe used to seeing, but I think that just for the confidence for him, for his mental game is so big to come into the Masters and off a win. So,
well, let's just clarify. They don't take the week off. They just don't play in a round the week or 2 weeks before.
Right.
They're still training.
Right.
And
but
playing the courses that they're at. They're just not
competing.
They're not competing.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah. No, I was just clarifying for our viewers. They could have gotten a little confused. You know? Not everybody's the biggest golf fan.
Of course.
Yeah. So, Evan, I said I like DJ a lot. You said you couldn't really pick against him. Do you have anybody else besides Spieth that you would like to see up there?
Justin Thomas is playing good golf too.
Yeah, he has been. He's
really
been,
great.
Yeah.
I think the guys that we all talked about are going to be, definitely in the mix, and it's just going to be a matter of who's on their best game.
Someone to look out for.
Okay.
Colin Morikawa.
Yeah.
That dude's short game is the best in the tour right now, and that is no cap. I mean that he has the best short game in the tour. It is like a pin laser, like to wherever he wants to put it, it's going.
No, yeah, good golfer.
Fantastic golfer.
Right. We haven't seen him recently as winning, like he's due for a win.
He is.
That's what I'm saying. He's that guy who you see, he's always around a little bit, but he hasn't really taken that step
Absolutely.
to championship level golf.
Yeah. You're so right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to see him get to that level. I'd love to see it. I think he's out of Stanford. But yeah, huge.
Interesting. I didn't know that, Stanford.
Let me look that up. I don't want to be wrong. So. No, he went to Cal. That's my fault. He went to Cal. Colin Morikawa went to Cal. UCal. He beat Stanford. That's what I was thinking about. In their tournament when he was in college. Yeah. So that's where that's at. But I'd like to see him step it up this week and have a great couple days at the Masters at Augusta.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So moving on.
We got Klein's Corner.
We got Klein's Corner. It is back, baby. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Thanks, Max. So Klein's Corner, going to keep it short and sweet this week, but it's been a couple weeks since I gave a little UFC rundown, but I just want to talk a little bit about the fight night we got this weekend. So it's a little bit of an interesting one. We got Marvin Vettori against Kevin Holland, and obviously Darren Till was supposed to be fighting Vettori, but he dropped out due to injury training, and Kevin Holland, off of only a couple weeks of rest after his recent loss, very disappointing loss against Derek Brunson, steps in and says, I'm ready to go against Marvin Vettori, who is a very hungry customer. And Vettori is not playing. Vettori is been saying over and over again, nobody talks about me. I'm the one out there. I'm winning fights. So he's coming hungry. I think Vettori is an all-around better fighter than Kevin Holland, and I think he's going to win this fight. I think Kevin Holland can compete with him if they bring it to the ground. I think the wrestling could be competitive. Definitely Kevin Holland's a good wrestler, but striking-wise, I think I like Vettori. So I'm going to go with Marvin in this one. And yeah, I mean, UFC has been great lately. Sport is just growing so fast. We didn't really get to talk about it.
Yeah, why don't you touch on Francis?
Yeah, so obviously that's what I was going to do. So Francis Ngannou beats Stipe Miocic, one of the consensus greatest fighters of all time, probably the greatest heavyweight of all time, in a title fight the other week. And Francis he's one of my favorite fighters. He's just got such like an inspiring story, and he has the world record for the hardest punch in the world. So he's just an absolute menace, and this guy comes out and just absolutely knocks the shit out of Stipe Miocic. It was just a crazy fight. You were there. You watched it with me. Just unreal.
Ridiculous fight. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? For everybody watching on YouTube, I have a video of Klein reacting to this. I'm going to pull it up right here, and you guys can watch that of Klein reacting. So just wait. I'll pull it up on YouTube, okay?
Yeah. Here we also got the Vettori Holland thing that this is the matchup that we got going, if you didn't know what they looked like.
So who do you like? You like Holland?
No, Marvin Vettori.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You know what? I'm going to pick against you just because.
Holland.
I like Holland.
But Max,
he lost a couple weeks ago, but he's going to bounce back, baby.
These guys fight like 3 times a year, and this guy's coming off a couple weeks of rest after a 5-round fight that went the distance.
Yeah.
That's very, very draining.
Yeah. I think he's going to do it.
Okay, Max. You know what? Maybe we'll talk about, keep you updated on Instagram. Maybe Max and I'll talk about a little wager on this weekend's fight night.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be
I'd
fun.
like that, yeah. Are we watching together?
I'm not sure. I got to see what's going on, but I'm down.
Okay, I think we should.
Especially if we put something on.
Yeah, especially if we put something on.
We could record. That would be a fun thing to record.
Oh, yeah.
Get
content.
It's all about the content,
It's
guys.
all about the content.
It's content, and more content. So
content.
It's what our life has come to.
Making content.
That's what life is now.
Yep.
Anyways, so yeah, just wrap that up.
Good Klein's Corner. I missed it. I'm going to be honest.
Good to be back, guys.
It's great to be back.
Guys, thanks for having me.
I think we should name this episode, It's Great to Be Back.
It's great to be back. Sure.
After a little hiatus.
I mean, that has a ring to it, no?
It does.
Right.
It's great to be back.
Sure.
All right, cool. We're back.
Sure.
Alrighty.
So, getting into hockey a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it in a while, so
right.
Gotta talk about it a little bit.
Right, the hockey season is very well underway.
Yes, it is. So I just wanted to touch on my Bruins. Tuukka Rask's been hurt a little bit, which not good, but it's given an opportunity for Dan Vladar to step up, and this dude is the man. He is playing so well. He got to play in front of a home crowd last week, absolutely showed off. I believe he only let up 1 goal, played phenomenal. So it's really promising to see that the Bruins now have not only 2, but 3 fantastic goaltenders. So that's it for the Bees. I love the Bees, as everybody knows. A little biased always. I think they're going to win a championship. Championship. I laugh at myself sometimes. Stanley Cup. But yeah, I like the Bruins this year. They're looking good, and as long as they can have 2 solid goalies, I think they have a shot at going the distance, and now that they have 3, it's even better.
Yeah, last night was a crazy game for the Bruins. I know it was a tough one, lost in overtime to the Flyers. Travis Sanheim with the game winner. Tough one. I don't know if you saw the highlight, but so there was a turnover in overtime, and then this guy Sanheim is going up the side, and Bergeron stumbles and falls at the blue line, and he gets this breakaway and ends the game. That's just a tough way to lose.
And that is the Selke winner pretty much every year. So, like, what are you gonna do, right?
Right.
Like, it happens once in a blue moon,
Right.
So you can't be mad at Patrice Bergeron, arguably one of the best Boston Bruins. Of
No,
all
yeah,
time.
Bruins are always that team that, like, maybe once or twice throughout the season they'll have a little hiccup of like a little losing streak, but at the end of the day they make the playoffs and they're gonna compete in the playoffs. That's just the team they are.
Yeah, that's kind of how they've been against the Devils this year. I think everybody could say that. Like
I
the
can't
Devil,
even talk about the fucking Devils.
Yeah. Usually Evan is so fucking excited to talk about the Devils, but now he's just like so done with it. We're not even halfway through the season.
You know, listen, we're the youngest team in the NHL, and it's just a process, and you got to trust it. What else do you do as a fan? You just trust the process because, like, dude, I am in this Devils fan Facebook group, as lame as that sounds, but. It's lame, but I'm in it and I enjoy it. And sometimes I participate in these conversations. But like the toxicity out of these people, and then I get into arguments with them in the comments.
Can I stop you for a sec?
Sure.
I was just about to say, dude, this sounds like the most fucking toxic thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh my God. Every loss, it's like, fire the coach, fire the GM, Blackwood sucks. All the young guys suck. Call up the guys that are like 19 in the farm system. It's like these people are so ridiculous. And I'm like, have you ever heard of like a process or like patience or not saying your team sucks and maybe encouraging and rooting? And these people are like, fuck this, fuck that. It's just so ridiculous.
That's hilarious, man. I know I see you sometimes because I follow the Red Sox on Facebook. Dude, you respond to other Red Sox fans all the time. It is the best.
Dude.
You're just like, have you never seen this guy play? Like, he's good. When people shit on a pitcher, it's so funny. You're like, give the dude a chance.
Yeah, dude. The most recent one that you responded to, which was so funny, was somebody said something mean about Bobby Dahlbeck, who led the MLB in spring training home runs. And they were like, Bobby Dahlbeck needs to like not strike out as much, which is true. But I'm like, guys, give him a chance. This is his first full season in the majors, and he's going to hit maybe 48 home runs. So you could calm the fuck down, please.
What did I say?
You were like, this is hilarious or something like that.
It was, dude. It's so funny. Like, I would never respond to someone on like,
dude, I go through and
sometimes
I find these random people and they say things that just are so wrong, and I just need to like, just like, wrong. It's like, you know, I just get that urge sometimes.
I'm just gonna zoom in on your face when you scream wrong. It's coming.
Fuck.
All right, so let's get back to hockey.
Right.
Trade deadline coming up.
Oh, look at these fuckers.
Look at these fuckers. Trade deadline coming up. Evan, what do you think? Want to break it down for the boys?
Yeah, a
girls?
couple of things. So Kyle Palmieri has been, he has not been dressing for the Devils for the last 2 games, and they plan to sit him through the trade deadline, which almost for certain means he's getting traded if you're getting sat for a week before the deadline. So that's on April 12th. And
Or at least means there's some bad blood. He may not get traded this season, but he's gone after the season. That's a certain.
Yeah,
from now on.
No,
But,
it seems like consensus within like the Twitter community that he's like almost as good as gone.
Yeah.
But they've said that Boston and Carolina are 2 like the biggest suitors. Kyle Palmieri is a great veteran presence. He's a New Jersey born and raised guy, and you know he's a great player, and he's gonna do his job and he's gonna lead. I think I'm sad to see him go, but you know I think the Devils will probably get like a couple picks and maybe a defenseman for him. That's like at best like some lower round picks and maybe like an okay defenseman. I don't know.
Dude, hockey trades are so weird.
So weird.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even see him going for that much, even though he's probably worth that. I see him going for like picks. That's it.
No, yeah, maybe like a
players.
3rd and a 4th round pick or something. And
that's
like,
what I mean. Like either 2 picks or like a player.
right.
Like
I'd prefer the player.
Of course you would, because you want to win now. But the Devils aren't in that mindset right now.
No, I know. All of our guys that are sick are like, dude, like Jack Hughes is not scoring every night, but he is also 20.
Yeah.
So can we not just like jump on the I hate Jack Hughes train? The guy is sick. Like when he shows flashes, like there's all these guys that the Devils have that you know in a few years are gonna rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of the trades. So we got these 2 guys, Taylor Hall, Jack Eichel, 2 of the biggest names in hockey, and have just absolutely sucked with Buffalo this year, you know, not scoring. So Hall's on a 1-year deal, and Eichel just seems fed up and doesn't love the team anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that both of them are going to be shopped. They'll take calls. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. That's crazy. I mean, where would you see Jack Eichel? What are like some suitors for him?
I don't know, man. Like I could see him. Everyone always wants to throw at the Rangers. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I agree. It's not going to happen.
I could honestly. How's the Devils cap space?
Not enough for Jack Eichel. We'd need to trade like Nico Heischer and like a first round pick and some other shit, like another maybe like Jack Hughes, like something like
Gotcha,
ridiculous.
okay.
Too much to give up.
I don't know. I just feel like Buffalo has been asking for too much.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like he'll go to like a team that people don't really think about, like somewhere like the Wild or
no,
like
I could see him going to like the Islanders. If the Islanders could clear enough cap, because it's still New York and they're filthy. They're clearly the better New York team.
They would be
like,
super
if he has
dangerous.
any sense of like, I want to win, like I think the Islanders give him the best shot. You know,
That would be
hook
interesting.
him up with Matty Barzal.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have him on the same line.
I mean,
you
yeah.
know, like
they wouldn't be on the same line.
yeah, because the Islanders are so stacked already. It's just like it just brings that much more offense to your team.
That would be insane. I don't know. Yeah, maybe like I don't know. He's definitely gonna ask to go somewhere that's gonna win now. So maybe like Colorado. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Vegas.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Vegas. I don't know though. They have so much
Eichel
money tied
sometimes
up.
though he sometimes gives me like locker room like
Toxic.
toxic locker
Like
room
toxicity.
vibes. Yeah.
I feel that heavy. Yeah, because like if you cared about the sport, wouldn't you want to be out of Buffalo like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean they use the
Like-
term. What do they use the term? Locker room cancer or something like that.
Did they?
That's like no, they didn't use the term, but like that's what people say like about
Gotcha.
like some people. But like I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but watch. He's probably not even going to get traded, and all this was for
Yeah,
not.
What I think's gonna happen is he's gonna get traded in the off season. Just the NHL is too out of date with this shit. They're so not up to date with like how trading works. There's like hardly any in season trades.
I know.
It's bullshit. I mean, the fans want to see it.
I know.
They'd enjoy it.
The last one that I can think of that was like even like crossed my mind was Alex Galchenyuk with the Panthers trade, and which is just like
What I can think of,
not Senators trade. Excuse me.
what I can think of is a couple years ago when Charlie Coyle came over to the Bruins, but that was 2 to 3 years ago now. So
Right.
like that was a mid-season trade.
Well, no, last year John Gabriel Pga got.
I'm just saying that's the one I can remember.
Yeah, well, because you're a Bruins fan, that's why it kind of like sticks with you.
Yeah, obviously. I was just saying.
Right, yeah. I remember last year John Gabriel Pegjo came over from Ottawa to Islanders, which is another big one. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the trade deadline. With that being said, now we are going to be joined for an interview by Jesse Forstot of Forward Sports Group. Really excited to have him on today for this episode. So we're going to jump to that now. We are now happy to be joined by Jesse Forstot of Forward Sports Group. Jesse, thanks for joining us today, man.
Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me on.
Of course. So we're going to jump right into the interview. So for those that don't know, give us a little rundown of Forward Sports Group and what it is you guys do and how you're involved.
Sure. Yeah. So Forward Sports Group is a soccer agency. We do a few different. There are a few different categories, I'd say, of work that we do. The main one, the traditional one that you think of probably when you think of an agency, is contract negotiation. You know, you represent players and their interests, and really, and we do it all over the world, in the U.S., Europe, Africa, Asia, literally, all corners of the globe. We've been lucky enough to work. Another bank, or I guess like pot that we work in, I'd say, is a little more unconventional probably for an agency, but we work on what's called mergers and acquisitions, which is basically finding investment groups that want to invest in soccer teams and try and match them up with teams that we know that are looking for more investment. So it's a lot of really diverse stuff, pretty interesting. And my role is the head of North American operations, to put it simply. So we do have, like I said, an operation overseas. Being based here in the U.S., I run everything that we do in Canada and the U.S.
Right. So you said the U.S., so U.S. and Canada. So tell me a little bit about the primary areas of focus for you with the players and stuff like that. Every day, what is it you're trying to accomplish? You know, so is it just getting players signed? Is that most important, or is it all these other things combined? Like you wake up every day and you're doing this stuff. What is it that is most important to get done?
Yeah, well, it depends on the time of the year, really, because the soccer season, and for the most part on this side of the world, unlike Europe, goes from the spring to the fall. So, I mean, during the season, the duties and responsibilities and things that I care about are much different than in the off season. because an agent's work is really done in the off season. So really from the fall to the beginning of the season in the spring, that's when you're working on recruitment, trying to find new guys to work with, new players to sign to the agency, and also working to find your guys that you're working with that are free agents, find them new teams. So
Absolutely.
that's busy season. And then during the year, I mean, soccer, things are always popping up. Guys get injured. They had a bad week of practice. They need, there's a million different things that go on during the season. So very different. But yeah, I guess that's the best way to answer it.
Sure. So tell me, when it comes to player recruitment, which is what you mentioned, is that like semi-pro players and college kids, like for the North American at least? Is that you watching game tape and you're like, oh, I think I want to sign this guy? Or how exactly does that work? How do you find the clients? Because I know these probably aren't guys who are playing for Barcelona all the time. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go represent him. Like how do you find these people, and what's the player recruitment process like for you?
Right. No, I like to represent someone in Barcelona, but
Sure.
it doesn't exactly work that way. But there's a lot of different avenues, to be honest. I've experienced some crazy stories, I guess, of how I end up working with players. So it's everything from, like you said, watching college, watching the lower leagues, because there's actually 4 professional levels in the U.S. There's MLS, which first of all, it's the first division and it's what's most popular, but there's a second division and there's actually 2 third divisions. So there's a lot of players and a lot of different places to look. So yeah, you can watch and you can say, hey, I think this player is good. They've got potential, and use your connections to get to them and reach out and talk to them. But there's so many players. Our DMs, like on our Instagram, for example, are just flooded every single day with players that reach out to us, because there's a lot more players than there are teams and spots on the rosters. So from scouting guys myself and watching video, like you said, to having people come to us, and in between, players that we already work with will recommend their friends or guys on their teams and things like that. So there's kind of an unlimited number of ways that you can run into new players.
So these guys are reaching out to you per se, and then because they know you have a relationship with some of the clubs and they know that you could get them a potential contract.
Yeah, exactly. They see, we have an Instagram only for our North American clients, is the way we set it up, and they'll see the players that we work with and the teams that those players are on, and they say, I'd like to play in that league. I'd like to play for that team, and they'll send us. We try to answer everyone. It's a big part of what we try and do, and treat all the players, whether it's someone who's going to end up on Barcelona or someone who maybe isn't that good. Like, we try and, answer everybody and give everyone a fair look, because they'll send over their CVs and video, and try and take a look
Sure.
as much as we can.
Sure. So tell me a little bit, for you to be, experiencing this and interacting with these athletes, all these different people on daily basis, contacts with teams, all that. Tell me what that's like, and then maybe anyone in particular that you've gotten to work with that has been really cool for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot about how to deal with different types of personalities, and there's no one way to explain. Every coach is different. In soccer, for example, if you're dealing with the front office, a lot of times the coach is the one who actually makes the signings, and they're the ones that will watch the players. Sometimes you'll have a GM, or in soccer, it's usually what's called a technical director or sporting director. They're the ones that will be in charge of recruitment. They'll negotiate the contract. So dealing with coaches is always, I'm trying to think how to say it politely, is like, it's like a circus sometimes, because, and to their, it's fair in one aspect, because they're just coaches. They're supposed to be on the field and making guys better. They're not like, a lot of them play professionally, so they're not trained at running a business, which a soccer club is. So yeah, talking to a lot of coaches and sporting directors sometimes is challenging, but also sometimes it's really fun. You get to talk to people that have played at the highest level and that are really good people, and yeah, just been a lot of fun to work with. I mean, for some examples, it depends what you're looking for. If it's, I've gotten a chance to build a good relationship with Landon Donovan, for example, who's, the MLS MVP trophy is named after him. He's probably, he's, I think, the all-time cap leader for the U.S. national team. I think, anyway, so people like him, with his pedigree, he actually runs a team in the second division, which people maybe like the casual sports fan might not know. So he's an example of someone that I've gotten to work with. I've spoken with a lot. There's actually a lot of examples of people like that who don't even work in MLS, even though they are some of the best former players of all time, like Tim Howard, who I've gotten to speak with a good amount, who runs the team in the second division. And again, he's, probably maybe the most decorated American player abroad. He played for Everton for many years, played for Manchester United. So yeah, those are just a couple, but those are maybe the more popular names, but there are plenty of people that I've had the chance to get to know that have been awesome to work with.
No doubt. That has to be cool for you. Like, I'm sure growing up a big fan of not only soccer but American soccer, these guys that kids idolize on TV, getting to speak with them day to day, that has to be a cool experience.
Yeah, and it's still cool. Every day, just getting a text from some of these guys, but you also get used to it, and a lot of them are way more normal, way more down to earth, and a lot more professional maybe than you'd even expect, because some of these guys had illustrious careers and made enough money where they don't need to be working at all, let alone working every day in soccer like they do. So in the beginning, there was definitely like a point where, I remember the first time I spoke to Landon, for example, I hung up and I at that point, it wasn't like the beginning of when I was doing all of this. So I had spoken to people that have played at high levels and coached at high levels.
Sure.
But being, like you said, American, everyone in America knows who Landon Donovan is. And when we hung up, I was, obviously just kind of like, wow, but
totally.
Yeah, it's cool to speak to some of the Americans, especially.
No doubt. So, Jesse, you're working with the North American branch you mentioned before. So what can you tell me about any involvement? I don't know if you've had any, but the company itself, the process with international players. So I'm sure it's like the way you handle the process here, maybe, let me know if I'm wrong, is similar the way they do it on these other continents. But, what's it like with the international players? Are they signing to international clubs only, or are you guys working on bringing them over to the U.S.? Or tell me all about how that works.
Yeah, it's gone in both directions with the international players, which is something that I personally like a lot, just because you get to learn. That's really been the coolest part about this. As cool as it has been speaking to people who had famous careers and all of that, the coolest thing about this job is being able to talk with players from parts of the world that you'd never speak to people to under normal circumstances. Right. Finland, Albania, Ghana, literally India, all parts of the world. So, but to answer your question, it's completely different working with international players for a lot of reasons. The big two, I guess, would be the expectations are much different, because players coming from Europe have much different mentalities, much different experiences in their careers than Americans, and there's a lot more logistics. You have to get work visas. They're oftentimes paid higher salaries than American players, and same thing if we're bringing either American players to foreign countries, or just a foreign player in Europe to a different foreign country in Europe. Not his home country. Like same thing applies. It's a bigger deal. There's more to deal with. So it's a fun process, but it's a lot more complicated.
Gotcha. So now these contracts that are being negotiated, is the goal to get these, like if for North America, let's say, for example, is the goal to get these guys, I want to get you an MLS contract here in America? Or is it just like I want to get you a deal at any league? Or tell me a little bit about like the goals of the contract signing and sort of how that process works for those who might not know.
You mean for international players specifically, or just in general?
I guess in general, like I'm sure the goal is always to get somebody a contract in the highest league, but like how does that like process work? Like is it up to you guys to say, I don't think you can play in this league, so we have to look here? Or is it just like you guys focus on a few leagues specifically in some countries? Or is it up for you maybe are asking clubs and leagues in every country? Tell me a little about that. I know it's a broad question. I'm like throwing a lot at you, but it's very interesting.
No, it's a good question. And the answer is I think that we're actually a bit unique in that sense, mainly because of my boss, a guy named Raphael, who he was actually a journalist before he started working in this field, and he literally worked all over the world as a soccer journalist specifically. So a lot of agencies will just be in America, they'll just be in Germany, they'll just be in England. We don't really work that way because of Raphael, and now by extension me. I've built my network from him as well. But the first question you asked, the answer is yes. The question was, is it up to us to determine where we think they can play? And the answer is yes, because soccer players are confident people, and they'll like to tell you that they can play at the highest level, which is good. It's important to have confidence as an athlete, but there's a lot of players that you have to sift through, and there's a lot of resumes, and you have to use your experience to look at a resume and say, I know the level of the league you came from, because we watch a lot of these leagues. We don't just watch American soccer. I know how much money you made there, and I know about what you're able to make equivalences basically. And I know, for example, that if you're coming from this league, and I watch some of your film, maybe MLS isn't for you. Maybe the second division, USL Championship, or even the third division, USL League One or NISA. I don't know if you guys know what these leagues are, but the point is, when you watch enough, and when you dig into it as much as we do, that's when you're able to make those equivalences, which is hard, but it's really what we have to do in order to do things successfully, because otherwise you end up spinning your wheels trying to pitch a coach a player that is nowhere near the level or is way above the level. So
Right. That's understandable for sure. One of the kind of going into the last phase of what I want to ask you. So the relationship that America has with soccer from a fan standpoint is very, very different than the relationship in Europe or, some of these other countries. What I want to talk to you about, because I know you're a lifelong soccer fan and you love the sport, I want to talk to you about the reason why maybe soccer is the number one watch sport in the world, but in America it seems to not get enough appreciation. And the MLS obviously isn't the Premier League. That's just a fact. And I want you to tell me why you think the game maybe hasn't grown. I guess maybe hasn't grown in the United States the way it has in England or the way it has in Germany or something like that, if that's a clear question.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's not a clear or quick or concise answer. But I know.
But your answer is good. Any answer you have.
I'm sure we're on a time limit here, so I could talk about it for 5 hours, and it's multifaceted. But I would say it comes down to two things. One is culture, which is kind of really tied into the other one, which is the competition. There's the NFL is, I think, probably the most popular league in the U.S. Right? American football isn't played anywhere else in the world. I think there's random leagues in Europe, but those obviously don't hold a candle to American football. The NBA is by far the biggest basketball league in the world. I know there's good leagues in Europe and Spain and Germany, China, but they don't, again, not even close to the NBA, MLB, right. Whatever. So you get the point. The USA is a big country, but in all these other countries, it's soccer. I mean, in Europe there are other popular sports, but in soccer, that's all there is. And the other part of it that I mentioned, which is the culture, you can, and again, this is what I've gotten to experience, which is what's so cool. You can go to a town of 10,000 people in Iceland, and everybody in the town is a fan of that club. The local hotel will put the players up. The local restaurant gives them free meals. Everybody in the town goes to the games. That's it. And that same exact culture of my club, my city, that's the same thing. There's no difference. It's not really like that in the U.S., which is fine, because the U.S., American sports are really commercialized, and so is European soccer. But I grew up a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm from New Jersey. I don't really know why. That in for some stupid reason. I don't know. But the point is, that happens. That's not a very good example, because that's really weird. But people from New Jersey are fans of team from Los Angeles. But if you're from Liverpool in England, your Premier League team is going to be Liverpool or Everton or one of the lower league clubs. But that's it. You're not going to be a fan of a London club. It happens a little bit, but that example worldwide. Case in point, you have that if you're in South Africa, if you're in Thailand. It literally doesn't matter. It's where you're from, like that's in your blood. And in the U.S., it's how are you supposed to get there when you have all these other leagues, and it's just not really the way sports are here.
Right. That makes sense. I like that. I like that example you gave because I understand it's like from the MLB and the NBA standpoint, you have players from the rest of the world. Their goal is to come here and play. But for soccer, every kid's dream is probably to go and play for Manchester United or Bayern Munich or a team like that, you know?
Yeah, it's also, and again, it is unique. There's no promotion relegation, which again is that's one of the hot topics all the time in America, because there's very few leagues in the world where you don't have promotion relegation, which is simply if you finish in last or if you finish in second to last, you're going from the top division down to the second division next year, which is a lot less prestigious. And on the flip side, if you win your division, then you go up to the next level. So without that competitiveness, like it kind of loses something. So that's also why kids growing up here, like what you see on TV, what American cable, what American TV networks pay money for is to watch the Premier League, like you said, to watch the German Bundesliga, to watch Italian Serie A. That's what everybody grows up watching. And MLS is growing like crazy, don't get me wrong.
Right. Definitely.
It's the top probably 15 to 20 league in the world by some metrics, but it's not, it's just, it doesn't have some of the romantic appeal that playing in Europe or the rest of the world might.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. I think the game is definitely growing, but no doubt. But yeah, I mean, Jesse, it was a pleasure to have you on today. You gave us some really great answers. Glad to ask you, about what you do, and thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Appreciate you having me on.
No doubt. We are back from the interview with Jesse Forstot of Forward Sports Group.
Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Pleasure to interview. Great guy.
If you guys have any people you want us to interview, have any suggestions, drop them in the comments. I know, can't hurt.
Right.
Can't hurt.
All networking connections is good, nothing wrong with that.
There's no bad networking.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get on with
just
the
how they say no bad publicity. Sorry
no
to
bad
say.
publicity.
I just wanted to add
No,
that.
you're good. You're good. Don't ever apologize for something like that. All right, let's get on with the pod. So Jets fans.
Oof. Congrats on Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, by Darnold. So Sam Darnold gets traded to the Carolina Panthers. This is mad interesting because the Panthers
Second round pick too?
Yeah. I mean, for a second round pick and another pick, right?
Yeah.
A second,
fourth,
and a second and a fourth, I'm pretty sure. So there's so many things we have to break down here. First off, let's start off with the fact that the Panthers had recently been looking at
Trey
Russell
Lance.
Wilson and Trey Lance and all these other options.
They might trade their pick now.
Exactly. So you don't know what's happening now. It just brings so many facets.
Right,
to
there's
that.
draft implications.
Exactly. So then we're gonna go over to the players on Carolina. Who had the best season last year? Wide receiver.
Robbie Anderson.
Who's his quarterback now?
Sam Darnold, who he didn't have a great relationship with in New York. So that's interesting to think about.
Absolutely. But do you think that's Darnold or do you think that's Gase when he was on the Jets?
No, I think it's a
Could be a combo.
a combination of things.
I think it's more Gase than
Combination.
Darnold, though.
Maybe.
I'd like to see how Darnold does in a new offense. With
Right.
a
I
new
think Sam
OC.
Darnold has potential.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting paired up with Joe Brady, former LSU offensive coordinator. So
Right.
he's going to a great offense. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he fares there.
Certainly a better one than the Jets.
Absolutely. I mean, anything's better than the Jets at this point.
Right. And that means, obviously, as I said, Zach Wilson for the Jets. Apparently, the GM's already started talking to his family. So
Yeah. He impressed in his pro day. I had him going. I believe I had him going to the Jets in my mock draft.
yeah, he's gonna go
I
to
did.
the Jets. It's almost
Yeah.
as lock of a lock.
Yeah.
I feel like. So
Before we move on,
Teddy Bridgewater, though, I just wanted to run by you.
yeah,
What does this mean for
just
him?
while
real quick?
we're on the draft, I just wanted to bring this up quick. Expect some mock drafts. We already put one out from me. Ev's gonna get one going soon, and then we're gonna keep on updating those and try to make as many as we can leading up to our draft coverage. We're gonna get as much content as we can leading up to the draft because we want that to be perfect for you guys. So that's gonna be April 29th, the actual draft coverage,
The live stream.
the live stream. So just letting you guys know when that is.
Yep. Absolutely.
Teddy B,
Teddy B.
Teddy B. I don't know, man. He was good. He had like a solid season last year. I wasn't like unimpressed with what was happening. So I don't know what this means for him. Maybe he slides into that backup role and is more of a mentor to Sam. Or maybe they
paid him last year though.
Yeah,
it's
or
like,
maybe
it doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. Or maybe they battle it out in training camp.
I mean, there's no way it's not a competition after the money you gave Teddy Bridgewater. You have to at least let him compete for the job.
Yeah, you can't just put him on the bench. You
Right.
can't just be like, bye.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice sound effect there. It's like,
bye.
so, yeah, so that's where that's at, and that was a big trade. So we just wanted to cover
touch
that.
on it. Figured Jets fans finally have something they could be a little bit happy about, getting a new start all throughout the organization. So that's great if that's what you want as a Jets fan. If it's not, well, sorry, you're still a Jets fan, so I don't care that much. Right. Evan?
Today's episode is sponsored by Advanced Office Furniture. Advanced Office Furniture. Since 2003, Advanced Office Furniture has been providing the New York metro area with the highest quality custom furniture. All of their furniture is produced in their state-of-the-art manufacturing facility here in New Jersey and never outsourced. Your business is unique, so why don't you choose to furnish it with specialty furniture that is built to last? With high-quality customized solutions, no matter what your needs are, Advanced Office Furniture will surely exceed your needs. Now doing work for storefronts, kitchens. They did our podcast studio. Really,
Yes, they
anything
did.
you may need, they've got you covered. Advanced Office Furniture brings creativity and originality. You know it's hard to find people these days that work to ensure satisfaction, and they truly do. Check them out and inquire for more at www.advancedofficefurniture.com. That is www.advancedofficefurniture.com.
Shout out AOF.
Right, shout out them.
So, let's finish up this pod on a very strong note. Baseball started. Evan, I know you're just so ecstatic, so I'm just going to switch the camera to you, let you talk for a little bit. I'll hop in when I need. All right?
Guys, I am just so happy because baseball is so great, and it's here finally after a long-awaited offseason. You know, last year we had the shortened season. We're back, and we have 162 baseball games, and it's just great.
Ev,
Max.
3 reasons why you love Major League Baseball.
Okay,
For
3
the-
reasons.
For the listeners.
3 reasons why I love Major League Baseball. I mean, I have a bunch, but
Top 3.
I mean, my dad was into baseball, and he was always a huge Red Sox fan, so that's kind of what we grew up like surrounded by in my house. So I just like kind of jumped into that at a young age. So it's just kind of always something that's like my family's been into, and you know, my brother and I watch all the games.
So it's a
like,
family thing on that front?
right? And then it's just like from that I played baseball, so I fell in love with the game itself, and just like the I can watch baseball for hours. It's just like something that I enjoy. And the last thing is just like the rooting interest. I think I got so attached to the Red Sox and the game that it's just like the rooting interest is like so deep for me. As stupid as it sounds, like I know people think like fandom and stuff is dumb, but I just like care about it. Like if the Red Sox win or lose, I care for some reason. Some people may not. I'll probably never know why I care, but I just do.
It affects your emotion.
Right.
Yeah. That's sports though, baby.
Right.
I just wanted to give the viewers that because I know you're the biggest baseball fan I know and the biggest advocate of like people
Grow the
should
game.
watch baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
so I wanted
people don't watch baseball.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to convince our viewers to watch some more baseball games this year. Fuck off. All right, so Ev, you want to break down for the people what's been going on in the Major League Baseball season?
Sure. Just a couple big headlines I wanted to go over. Yerman Mercedes of the Chicago White Sox started the season off 8-for-8. First time in history we have ever seen anything like that.
That is absolutely ludicrous.
Bonkers.
Bonkers.
So that happened, and that was just really like I was shocked to see that because every time he gets up after like the first 3 or like 3 or 4 like in the first game, like you have a perfect first game, you're like that's pretty crazy. Then he gets up again, and you're like, oh, there's no way he does it again. The guy gets a hit. It's like it's over. No way he's continuing this. Just gets another hit. It's just like ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Crazy to see. Other thing I wanted to get your opinion on. First full season, we saw it last year, but I kind of forgot that it was sticking around. In extra innings, every inning starts with a runner on second base. I absolutely hate that for reasons I will go into. Let's hear your take.
I don't mind it because you're speeding up the game. And Evan, if your whole shtick is grow the game, you want to do everything you can to speed up the game because that's everybody's biggest problem. That's what they're doing in golf right now, too. I mean, people's biggest problem with golf and baseball is they take forever. Nobody wants to sit down and watch 4 hours of something, 5 hours of something. I know you do, but not everybody does. So what they're trying to do in the game is make it shorter in the most non-affected ways they can. And I think that's one way that doesn't affect the outcome as much as we think it does. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, so friend of the program, Jack Darling, and I were talking about this, and friend of the program, Jack Darling, said that
Jack of all trades.
The Jack of all trades, he said, listen, you and I, we're going to watch no matter what they do. But when they do something like this, their hopes are that they're going to get people who don't normally watch to watch. You know, the reason I hate that, of course I want people to watch, but I just hate that because then you're catering to the people who don't even give a fuck about your sport instead of the people that stand by you and want to watch baseball. It's just like, I don't know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think baseball is broke. I love baseball, and like that's just me. There are people that love baseball still. It's just like, I don't know. It just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think like you start with a runner on scoring position in extra innings, and what, you get one hit up the middle and a game-winning run goes in, and then what, you just got to shut him down pitching? Like you should have to earn the run the right way.
You do earn the run by
don't.
getting the base hit.
You don't,
if
though.
Both teams have the same opportunity, as long as it's not like the NFL where if you score, you don't get a chance to redeem yourself.
I understand.
I'm
your
just
point.
saying.
That's not
I'm
baseball,
talking for the typical fan of sports, not the typical fan of baseball.
I understand.
Because I want like to have the opposite perspective of you so we can have both, you know?
Right. I understand it, but I don't like it.
I got you. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Let's
move on. Yeah.
We'll move on. Couple other things. I know we got a lot of Mets listeners, Yankees listeners, some Red Sox listeners.
Fuck New York sports.
Max, a Red Sox hoster.
Producer, listener.
Anyways.
Yeah, listen to the podcasts.
So, Mets, first game of the season. Obviously, their first series was postponed due to COVID, but they played their first game on Monday against the Phillies, and of course, we've seen it time and time again. DeGrom goes out, no earned runs, puts out just a marvelous start, and the Mets can't do it for him, and the relief pitching blows it. You know, you can't keep wasting these DeGrom starts. This guy would go undefeated if he got 3 runs a game.
I feel like the Mets have just like wasted pitchers. It's
just injuries. There's anything. DeGrom's the only one that they've salvaged, and they got to take advantage of his starts.
So true.
So that's just a thing that we continue to see. We hope that changes this season because the Mets are supposed to be one of the best teams in the National League this year, guys. Like this is if there's a time for the Mets to be really good, this is the time. So guys, let's clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like
you just signed Francisco Lindor to a 10-year, $341 million deal for Pete's sake.
Do more.
Do more, I guess.
Yeah.
Do more for your pitchers.
Okay.
Anyways, and relief pitchers, do more for your DeGrom.
Mets, do more for your fans.
Right. They deserve it.
They do. Let's just say that for a second. Mets fans are some of the most fucking loyal fans in all of sports.
The Amazons.
They really are. Like, they haven't won anything in so long, and they just hang on. And they go to the World Series, and they fucking lose, and they still hang on. And every year, this is our year. This is our year. And they have the same fucking attitude every year. Mets fans, I love you.
And they still continue to buy tickets and go to the games.
Yep.
I love it. Anyways, both Sox and Yankees struggled a bit. Red Sox with a miserable first series, but played really well on Monday night against the Rays. Nick Pivetta looked absolutely electric. Just to everything else for the Red Sox hasn't been going that great. 1-3 right now. Really, obviously tough start, but they're going to pick it up. I know they're going to pick it up, and they're going to make the playoffs. I know they're going to make the playoffs. And the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton hit a 470-foot home run yesterday. I mean, that's fun to see. That's fun. But, they're also losing baseball games. So both teams, I'm not worried. The offense is going to come and everything's going to come. I think both of those teams are good. The AL East, just the Rays, the Blue Jays. If the Orioles aren't, the Orioles are probably going to be the worst. But like even if they start winning some games, like such a tight division, it's crazy. So, guys, I mean, Max, you got anything else? That's kind of my rant.
Your rant. I have a couple things. All right, and we'll just end with this. Fuck the New York Yankees. Mets are okay.
I love the Mets.
Let's go Red Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Feel the dirty water.
I mean, the water is just disgusting.
It's not in a good way right now. I mean, they're looking pretty bad. So we need some dirty water, but some good dirty water.
Exactly.
With that, guys, we'll see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday. Look out for the draft live stream coming up. More details to follow.
Yeah. One thing. We forgot to say this. We got a graphic designer.
We do.
Let's go. So shout out Dylan. I'll pull him up right here.
You all know Dylan.
Here's Dylan. He's the GOAT.
Dylan's the neighborhood hero.
So he actually made our first logo.
He did
So,
way back when.
Yeah.
Before he was like ever like involved with like helping us, but now he's officially helping us.
Yeah, he's officially part of the Washed Up team. Happy to have him. So anything you see on Teespring, that's going to be him, guys. So,
yeah, merch line coming soon. Several designs, several things that are straight gas.
Let us know what you guys want to see. Do you guys want to see shorts, hoodies? I don't know. Backpack?
We have.
What do you want to see? Hat?
A backpack would be cool.
Backpack would be cool. I might get that for myself.
I know. I like that. Anyways, we have like some streetwear type things coming, and then also some like player profile type things. So it's just, guys, we're going crazy.
We going ham.
Exactly.
And also shout out to who won our March Madness giveaway.
Justin DeStasso.
We're gonna take a little while to get you your merch, but I promise we're gonna get you your merch. We just don't have any merch in stock.
I can
right
give
now.
you one of the older T-shirts too.
You have them?
Yeah, I do.
All right, cool. Then never mind, Justin. We got you hooked up.
We got you hooked up. We'll figure it out. I'll talk to you, Justin. Well, you know me, so
yeah. Congrats, though.
Well, yeah. Way to go, Baylor Bears.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next Thursday, guys.
See you next week. Peace, guys.
Ready? Give me a peace on 3. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Peace.
To subscribe, click here. To check out our behind-the-scenes series, Behind the Bench, click here. To check out clips, click here. To check out backlogged episodes, click here. Peace, guys. See you Thursday.